Ethan and Lyra's efforts continued to build bridges of trust and understanding between their two worlds. Their story was now widely known, taught in schools, and shared among communities as an example of how kindness could overcome fear. Despite these successes, maintaining peace required constant effort and dedication. One day, Ethan and Lyra received a special invitation to attend an important ceremony celebrating several years of successful peace. Leaders and dignitaries from both planets would attend, marking a milestone in their shared history. Ethan felt honored, recognizing how far they had come since their first quiet meal together. On the day of the event, Ethan felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Lyra noticed his feelings and gently reassured him with calm words. Together, they walked into the grand hall filled with people from both worlds. Ethan could see clearly how much progress had been made, feeling deeply proud to have played a role. As they moved through the crowd, Ethan and Lyra greeted familiar faces, sharing brief conversations filled with warmth and appreciation. The atmosphere felt hopeful and positive, reflecting the ongoing efforts of countless individuals committed to peace. Eventually, the ceremony began, and Ethan and Lyra were invited to speak. Ethan stepped forward first, speaking clearly and honestly about the power of small acts of kindness. He described their first encounter, emphasizing how one simple act had sparked significant change. Lyra continued, passionately urging ongoing cooperation and unity. Their speeches were met with heartfelt applause, reinforcing their message's importance clearly. Ethan felt grateful, knowing their experiences had genuinely inspired many others. He believed deeply in their mission, recognizing the ongoing need to maintain peace through dedication and understanding. However, just as the ceremony reached its peak, a sudden disturbance interrupted the celebrations. A small group opposed to peace had managed to enter the hall, loudly protesting and demanding a return to old ways. Ethan and Lyra quickly stepped forward, determined to calm tensions. Before violence erupted, Ethan spoke first, addressing the protesters calmly and respectfully. He urged dialogue and understanding, asking them to explain their concerns openly. At first, protesters shouted angrily, expressing fears of losing their cultural identity and security. Ethan listened patiently, responding thoughtfully and sincerely. Lyra joined him, her voice gentle but firm. She described clearly how cooperation had already strengthened both their worlds, bringing prosperity and understanding. Slowly, protesters began listening, realizing Ethan and Lyra truly cared about addressing their fears and concerns. Gradually, the protesters calmed, engaging in constructive dialogue. Ethan and Lyra facilitated the discussion patiently, ensuring each person felt heard and respected. Eventually, the group agreed to join ongoing discussions aimed at resolving concerns peacefully. Ethan felt relieved, knowing clearly their intervention had prevented potential violence. After the event concluded, leaders thanked Ethan and Lyra sincerely, recognizing their swift actions and ongoing commitment to peace. Both felt deeply humbled, understanding clearly how important their roles continued to be. They knew maintaining harmony required constant vigilance and dedication. Returning home, Ethan felt deeply reflective. He sat quietly beside Lyra, gazing thoughtfully at the stars. He spoke softly, expressing how the day's events reminded him clearly of the fragile nature of peace. Lyra agreed quietly, acknowledging the importance of their continued efforts. They decided to strengthen their organization further, creating programs aimed specifically at addressing ongoing fears and concerns. On both planets, Ethan and Lyra worked diligently, reaching out to communities still harboring mistrust or resentment. Their sincere dedication inspired others to join their cause, expanding their message even further. Months passed, and Ethan continued visiting communities, speaking openly about cooperation and understanding. His sincere words consistently resonated, bringing calm reassurance to those still struggling with change. Lyra accompanied him often, reinforcing their message clearly through their genuine friendship. One evening, Ethan and Lyra were invited to speak at a large gathering of young people. Ethan felt deeply encouraged, recognizing clearly the importance of inspiring future generations. He spoke openly, recounting their story and urging students to embrace kindness and understanding always. Afterward, several students approached Ethan, thanking him sincerely for his inspiring words. One student, deeply moved, promised to dedicate their life to promoting peace, clearly inspired by Ethan's experiences. Ethan felt deeply proud and grateful, knowing clearly their message continued to influence lives profoundly. Yet challenges continued to arise occasionally, testing Ethan and Lyra's determination. One day, troubling news reached them. A remote human settlement had begun experiencing renewed tensions with nearby alien communities. Ethan and Lyra immediately traveled there, determined to mediate discussions and restore harmony quickly. Upon arrival, they encountered significant hostility from both sides. Ethan spoke gently but firmly, emphasizing the proven benefits of peaceful coexistence. Lyra supported him strongly, sharing heartfelt stories clearly demonstrating their mutual trust and cooperation. Slowly, tensions eased, replaced by cautious openness to dialogue. After several days of patient discussions, harmony gradually returned. Both communities agreed to continue regular meetings to prevent future misunderstandings. Ethan felt relieved and deeply grateful, knowing clearly their efforts had again helped maintain peace. Returning home, Ethan reflected quietly on the ongoing nature of their mission. He understood clearly that peace required continuous care, dedication, and courage. Yet he felt deeply encouraged by their repeated successes, reassured by their shared commitment and friendship. That night, as stars glittered gently overhead, Ethan sat quietly beside Lyra, expressing deep gratitude for her unwavering support. Lyra, in turn, thanked Ethan sincerely for his courage and compassion, acknowledging clearly their joint efforts had changed countless lives positively. Together, they silently promised to remain dedicated always, knowing clearly that peace depended on their continued vigilance. Their friendship had grown deeply meaningful, serving as a powerful symbol of cooperation and understanding for both worlds. Ethan felt confident their journey would inspire future generations, clearly demonstrating the lasting power of kindness and friendship. He believed strongly their experiences had profoundly changed him, filling his life with meaningful purpose. Beside him, Lyra silently reflected, deeply grateful for Ethan's kindness and unwavering dedication. She knew clearly their shared journey had transformed both their lives, influencing countless others positively. Under the peaceful stars, Ethan and Lyra felt hopeful and united, dedicated always to their shared vision for lasting harmony. Their friendship had become a powerful testament to the ability of simple acts of kindness to change worlds profoundly, clearly proving peace was always possible when approached with courage, understanding, and compassion. The impact of Ethan and Lyra's efforts continued to grow stronger, bringing lasting changes to both human and alien societies. Their message of peace and friendship had become deeply rooted, influencing how future generations viewed each other. Yet, even as peace flourished, challenges continued to test their commitment. Ethan often visited schools, speaking openly with young students. He shared stories of courage and kindness, teaching the importance of understanding and cooperation. Lyra joined him, offering students a first-hand experience of alien culture, helping to break down barriers of misunderstanding and fear. During one such visit, a young student approached Ethan nervously. The boy quietly expressed fears about aliens, explaining he had lost family members during the earlier conflicts. Ethan listened patiently, feeling deep sympathy for the boy's pain. He spoke gently, emphasizing how anger and fear could trap people in the past, preventing healing and growth. Lyra knelt beside the boy, her expression gentle and understanding. She softly explained her own experiences, sharing her early fears about humans. She described how Ethan's kindness had transformed her perspective, teaching her the value of trust and friendship. The boy listened carefully, visibly calming. As he absorbed their sincere words. By the end of their visit, the boy felt comforted, promising to think carefully about their words. Ethan felt grateful for such moments, knowing each interaction could profoundly impact an individual's life. He believed strongly in the power of kindness, understanding its ability to heal wounds and create lasting peace. However, the calm was soon disrupted by troubling news. A group of aliens opposed to peace had launched protests on their home planet, demanding a return to isolation and hostility toward humans. Lyra felt deeply troubled, knowing their efforts faced yet another difficult challenge. Ethan assured her calmly, reminding her they had overcome similar situations before. They decided to visit Lyra's planet immediately, determined to address concerns directly. Upon arrival, Ethan saw tension clearly among the crowds. Many citizens appeared wary, clearly influenced by fear and misunderstanding. Ethan and Lyra quickly organized public discussions, speaking openly about their experiences and vision. Initially, the crowds listened skeptically, some expressing anger openly. Ethan spoke patiently, recounting his own journey from fear to friendship with Lyra. His sincere words gradually resonated, touching many listeners deeply. Lyra added her voice, passionately advocating peace and cooperation, emphasizing the progress both worlds had already achieved. Slowly, the mood shifted. Citizens began asking questions, allowing Ethan and Lyra to clarify misconceptions and fears openly. After several days of dialogue, most protesters softened their stance, understanding peace offered better opportunities for everyone. Ethan and Lyra felt relieved, knowing their honest efforts had again created positive change. Their success further strengthened their resolve, demonstrating clearly the ongoing need for vigilance in maintaining peace. They continued traveling, promoting their message tirelessly. Along the way, they encountered countless individuals whose lives had been positively affected by their story. These interactions deeply encouraged Ethan and Lyra, reminding them of their mission's importance. Despite their successes, Ethan occasionally felt exhausted, weighed down by constant challenges. One evening, after another tiring day, he sat quietly beside Lyra, gazing at the stars. She noticed his fatigue, gently encouraging him to share his feelings openly. Ethan spoke honestly, expressing his doubts and occasional worries about their future. Lyra listened attentively, her presence comforting and reassuring. She reminded Ethan softly that feeling overwhelmed at times was natural. She shared her own moments of doubt, emphasizing that facing struggles together strengthened their bond. Ethan felt deeply comforted, grateful for Lyra's wisdom and constant support. Renewed by their conversation, Ethan's confidence quickly returned. He recognized clearly that their friendship was their greatest strength, allowing them to face any challenge together. They continued their journey, united and determined, knowing each obstacle was merely another opportunity to strengthen peace. Eventually, news arrived of another major peace conference, gathering leaders from multiple worlds. Ethan and Lyra knew their presence would be critical in reinforcing commitments to cooperation. They prepared carefully, understanding the importance of their roles clearly. On the day of the conference, Ethan felt calm and focused, ready to speak confidently. Standing before the gathered crowd, Ethan and Lyra delivered powerful speeches. Ethan recounted their journey, emphasizing the transformative power of kindness and friendship. Lyra passionately urged continued cooperation, highlighting the positive outcomes already achieved. Their sincerity moved the audience deeply, reinforcing widespread commitments to peace. Yet, just as optimism filled the conference hall, an unexpected event tested everyone's resolve. A small extremist group had managed to infiltrate the event, intending to disrupt and intimidate participants. Security quickly intervened, ensuring everyone's safety. Ethan remained calm, speaking gently to the frightened crowd, urging courage and unity. His confident presence reassured attendees, calming fears swiftly. Ethan reminded everyone clearly that such incidents demonstrated peace's fragility, emphasizing the need for ongoing dedication and vigilance. Lyra added her voice, reinforcing Ethan's message firmly. Their combined courage inspired the conference attendees, renewing commitments to peace with greater determination. Leaders publicly thanked Ethan and Lyra, recognizing their bravery and unwavering dedication clearly. Ethan felt deeply honored yet humble, knowing his actions simply reflected his sincere beliefs and values. After the conference concluded, Ethan and Lyra returned to Earth, their bond strengthened by recent experiences. Ethan knew clearly their journey would never truly end, recognizing peace required constant effort and care. Yet he felt deeply encouraged, seeing firsthand how their simple friendship continued to influence countless lives positively. Back on Ethan's quiet farm, they shared another peaceful evening beneath the star-filled sky. Ethan expressed deep gratitude to Lyra, acknowledging her constant courage, wisdom, and kindness. Lyra, too, felt deeply thankful for Ethan's unwavering support and compassion, knowing clearly their friendship had transformed both their worlds profoundly. Together, beneath the stars, they reaffirmed their commitment silently. Ethan knew their shared experiences had forever changed him, teaching valuable lessons about compassion, strength, and unity. He promised himself quietly to remain dedicated to their shared vision, understanding clearly that each effort mattered. Deeply, beside him, Lyra silently made the same promise. She felt deeply grateful for Ethan's kindness, recognizing clearly how significantly their friendship had influenced her life and countless others. Their quiet bond stood as a powerful testament to the lasting impact of simple acts of kindness and compassion. As stars glittered gently overhead, Ethan felt true peace within himself, knowing clearly their journey had created meaningful change. He understood deeply that challenges would continue, requiring constant vigilance and courage. Yet he felt hopeful, reassured by Lyra's presence and their shared vision for a peaceful future. Their story had become a lasting example, inspiring others toward compassion and understanding. Ethan knew their friendship had forever transformed him, filling his life with purpose and deep meaning. Together, beneath the calm, star-filled sky, Ethan and Lyra felt confident and hopeful, united always in their shared mission for lasting peace. After the successful peace summit, Ethan and Lyra's lives became very busy. Their efforts to build understanding between humans and aliens continued to grow. Their story inspired many people on both planets, helping to keep peace strong. However, both Ethan and Lyra knew peace needed constant care and attention. The organization they had created quickly gained popularity. Many people joined their cause, eager to help spread the message of cooperation. Communities that once fought each other now work together, learning from their past and moving forward into a brighter future. Despite their successes, some people still resisted. Small groups continued promoting anger and mistrust, trying to divide communities. Ethan and Lyra were determined not to let these groups damage the peace they had worked so hard to build. They traveled tirelessly, speaking clearly and sincerely, to calm fears and encourage trust. One day, Ethan received troubling news. A small human town had refused to allow aliens to visit, causing tension and fear in the region. Ethan and Lyra immediately decided to go there and speak with the townspeople directly. They believed talking openly would help resolve the issues and calm the situation. When they arrived, Ethan saw the town was quiet but tense. People stared at them suspiciously from windows and doorways. Ethan approached calmly, introducing himself politely and asking to speak with community leaders. At first, the townspeople hesitated, clearly uncertain and wary. But Ethan's respectful manner soon earned their trust. Inside the town hall, Ethan and Lyra listened carefully as people expressed their fears. Many worried aliens would harm their way of life, recalling past conflicts. Ethan understood their concerns, speaking gently but firmly. He shared his own experiences, describing how he had overcome similar fears through friendship and understanding. Lyra spoke next, her voice soft but powerful. She shared her experience of kindness from Ethan, showing clearly that peaceful coexistence was possible. Slowly, the townspeople began to understand. They asked questions, and Ethan and Lyra answered each honestly, patiently reassuring everyone. By the end of their meeting, attitudes began to change. People who had been scared or angry now felt calmer, seeing Ethan and Lyra's genuine friendship. They agreed to allow aliens to visit, promising to welcome them with open minds and hearts. Ethan and Lyra felt relieved, knowing their words had made a difference once again. Their journey continued to other towns, each with its own unique challenges. Some communities welcomed them openly, inspired by their story. Others needed more reassurance, hesitant due to past conflicts. Ethan and Lyra approached each situation patiently, knowing their honest words and sincere friendship could overcome mistrust. One evening, after another long day, Ethan and Lyra rested beside a quiet lake. The sky above was clear, filled with stars shining brightly. Ethan spoke softly, reflecting on how much their worlds had changed. Lyra agreed, expressing deep gratitude for Ethan's unwavering courage and kindness. Their friendship felt stronger than ever, built on mutual respect and shared goals. However, their peaceful evening was suddenly interrupted. A call came through their communication device. A nearby community had experienced sudden violent protests, threatening the fragile peace. Ethan and Lyra quickly stood, determined to help. They knew their presence and calming words could restore order. Arriving quickly, Ethan saw frightened citizens gathered, confusion and anger filling the air. Ethan stepped forward, speaking clearly and calmly to regain control. Lyra joined him, her voice gentle and reassuring. Together, they explained that violence solved nothing, urging dialogue and understanding instead. Slowly, the crowd quieted. Ethan and Lyra listened carefully as people expressed their fears and frustrations. They responded thoughtfully, addressing each concern with patience. Gradually, tensions eased, replaced by careful hope and understanding. Seeing their success, local leaders stepped forward, promising ongoing dialogue to prevent future conflicts. Ethan and Lyra felt relieved, knowing peace had been preserved. Yet they understood clearly how fragile peace could be, needing constant nurturing and protection. Returning to Ethan's farm late that night, they both felt deeply exhausted yet hopeful. Their continuous efforts had brought positive change, demonstrating clearly that dialogue and compassion could overcome fear and hatred. Ethan believed strongly in their mission, proud of what they had accomplished together. The following weeks remained busy. Ethan and Lyra continued their visits, meeting new people and communities. Each success strengthened their determination, reaffirming their belief in their mission. Yet, even as they traveled, they faced ongoing challenges from those still opposing. Peace. One afternoon, a troubling report reached them. Extremists had planned a large-scale protest to disrupt peace celebrations. Ethan and Lyra immediately took action, organizing counter-events promoting unity and understanding. Their message spread quickly, drawing large supportive crowds eager to maintain harmony. On the day of the planned protest, Ethan and Lyra stood bravely before the gathered crowd. They spoke passionately, emphasizing unity and peace. Their words inspired listeners, calming fears and building determination. The extremist protests soon lost momentum, unable to compete with Ethan and Lyra's positive message. Their success drew praise from leaders on both worlds. Ethan and Lyra were recognized publicly for their tireless efforts, further strengthening their organization's influence. Both felt deeply proud yet humble, knowing their simple friendship had inspired such powerful changes. Yet they knew their work would never end. Peace required continuous care, protection, and nurturing. Ethan and Lyra remained committed, knowing their presence and dedication helped ensure lasting harmony between their peoples. That evening, resting peacefully beneath a vast, star-filled sky, Ethan reflected quietly. He felt deeply grateful for the strange circumstances that had brought him and Lyra together years ago. Their shared meal had sparked an incredible journey, transforming not only their lives but entire worlds. Beside him, Lyra also reflected quietly. Knowing Ethan had forever changed her understanding of humanity. She felt deeply thankful for his kindness and strength, aware that their friendship had created a lasting bond between their peoples. Together, they understood clearly that their journey was far from over. Challenges would continue, requiring their ongoing courage, patience, and dedication. Yet both felt hopeful, knowing their friendship had already overcome great obstacles. As stars twinkled gently overhead, Ethan silently promised to remain committed to their shared vision. He knew that no matter what lay ahead, he and Lyra would face it together, guided always by compassion, understanding, and the simple, powerful act of kindness that at first connected them. Deep in his heart, Ethan felt certain their story would forever inspire others. It would stand as clear proof that even in times of conflict and fear, simple acts of kindness could build bridges, create friendships, and change the world profoundly. And beside him, under the peaceful stars, Lyra silently made the same promise, dedicated always to the peaceful future they had built together. Ethan and Lyra's shared efforts toward peace quickly became well known across Earth and Lyra's home planet. People on both sides felt inspired and hopeful, believing a new era of understanding was possible. Despite their successes, however, there were powerful groups on both worlds that still resisted peace, determined to maintain old hostilities and prejudices. Aware of these challenges, Ethan and Lyra remained committed to their mission, traveling to communities to speak openly and share their message of friendship and cooperation. Their sincerity and genuine respect for each other touched many hearts, slowly changing attitudes even among those who had once fiercely opposed peace. One afternoon, Ethan and Lyra arrived in a city known for its strong opposition to peace talks. As they stepped from their vehicle, they felt immediate tension. People stared suspiciously, some openly expressing hostility. Yet Ethan and Lyra moved calmly, determined to present their message clearly and compassionately. In a crowded city hall, Ethan and Lyra spoke about their shared experiences and vision for the future. At first, the audience remained skeptical, murmuring in doubt. Ethan spoke gently, recounting the time he had found Lyra wounded and helpless. Lyra described how Ethan's simple act of kindness had transformed her view of humanity. Slowly, their honest words began to soften the crowd's resistance. People listened more closely, their expressions changing from anger to curiosity. Ethan and Lyra encouraged questions, answering each with patience and care. Gradually, the audience began to understand the deep sincerity and hope behind their message. But outside the building, unseen threats grew stronger. Extremists opposed to peace had gathered, determined to silence Ethan and Lyra. They believed that removing these two symbols of hope would crush the growing movement toward cooperation. As Ethan and Lyra stepped outside after their speech, they found themselves confronted by a hostile group. The extremists shouted angrily, calling Ethan a traitor and Lyra an enemy spy. Ethan held his hand up calmly, attempting to speak and ease tensions. But before he could speak, violence erupted. A small explosion scattered debris, creating panic. Ethan instinctively shielded Lyra, guiding her quickly to safety. In the chaos, Ethan and Lyra managed to escape unharmed, though both felt deeply shaken. As they reached a secure place, Ethan checked carefully to ensure Lyra was safe. She looked back at him, gratitude and concern clear in her eyes. Ethan realized again how deeply their bond had grown. Understanding the danger they now faced, Ethan and Lyra decided they must be cautious yet firm. They knew their message was important enough to risk their safety, but they needed support from influential leaders. They quickly contacted trusted allies, requesting protection and further support for their ongoing efforts. Soon, Ethan and Lyra received help from powerful individuals committed to peace. They offered protection, enabling Ethan and Lyra to continue their work safely. The incident had strengthened their resolve, showing them clearly the importance and urgency of their mission. As they traveled, Ethan and Lyra found more allies willing to help. Communities began actively supporting their message, openly rejecting violence and prejudice. The extremists, though still present, began losing influence. Each successful event, each new ally, further weakened their hateful message. One evening, as they rested in a quiet town after another successful event, Ethan and Lyra shared a peaceful moment beneath the stars. Ethan spoke quietly, reflecting on how much had changed since their first meeting. Lyra agreed, expressing gratitude for their friendship and shared mission. Both felt hopeful about the future. Yet, neither was naive. They knew peace was fragile and required constant nurturing. Ethan suggested creating an organization dedicated to promoting peace and understanding between their worlds. Lyra enthusiastically agreed, seeing it as a powerful way to continue their work. Together, they began forming plans for the new organization, envisioning a network of supporters committed to dialogue and cooperation. Their idea quickly gained interest and support, growing rapidly into something significant and meaningful. Ethan felt deeply proud, seeing how their simple act of kindness years ago had blossomed into something extraordinary. As their organization grew, Ethan and Lyra continued traveling, meeting leaders and communities, strengthening ties between their worlds. They spoke clearly and sincerely, demonstrating through their friendship that cooperation was not only possible, but necessary for a better future. Then, a significant opportunity appeared. A major peace summit was scheduled, bringing together influential leaders from both worlds. Ethan and Lyra were invited as honored guests and key speakers. They knew this event represented a vital chance to solidify peace and cooperation formally. Preparations for the summit filled Ethan and Lyra's days. They carefully crafted their message, ensuring every word reflected their sincerity and vision clearly. As the summit approached, they felt excitement and responsibility deeply, knowing the importance of their task. Finally, the day of the summit arrived. Leaders from both worlds gathered in a large, secure hall, tensions high but hopeful. Ethan and Lyra stood before the crowd, calm and confident. Ethan began by recounting their first meeting on the barren planet, describing how compassion had bridged the gap between them. Lyra continued, explaining how Ethan's simple act had deeply influenced her, transforming her view of humanity entirely. Together, they emphasized the power of kindness, cooperation, and mutual respect. The audience listened carefully, many deeply moved by their heartfelt words. Yet despite the strong support, another threat loomed. Hidden extremists, desperate to sabotage the summit, planned an attack to disrupt peace. Security personnel uncovered their plot just in time, arresting those responsible. The successful intervention further demonstrated the summit's importance and urgency. With the threat neutralized, the summit continued smoothly. Leaders spoke openly, inspired by Ethan and Lyra's message, agreeing on concrete steps toward peace. A formal treaty was signed, marking a historic milestone. Ethan and Lyra watched proudly, knowing their efforts had been essential in reaching this moment. After the summit concluded, celebrations filled both worlds. Ethan and Lyra shared quiet satisfaction, knowing their mission had succeeded beyond expectations. Still, they understood their work must continue, ensuring peace remained strong and lasting. Returning to Ethan's quiet farm once again, they rested peacefully, reflecting on their incredible journey. Ethan expressed deep gratitude to Lyra, acknowledging how much he had learned from her strength and wisdom. Lyra, too, felt deeply thankful for Ethan's constant courage and compassion. Sitting beneath the stars, they shared a peaceful silence, feeling true contentment. Both knew their journey had changed history, demonstrating clearly that peace and understanding could overcome fear and hatred. In the calm night, Ethan quietly promised himself that he would always work tirelessly to preserve the peace they had helped create. Beside him, Lyra made the same silent promise, determined to protect and strengthen the new era they had inspired. Together, under the endless starry sky, Ethan and Lyra knew their friendship and their story would forever stand as a powerful reminder. Even in times of war and conflict, small acts of kindness could create lasting peace, changing worlds for the better. Years passed after Ethan's rescue from the harsh, barren planet. Life returned to a calm and peaceful routine, vastly different from the tense, uncertain times of war. Ethan had retired from military service, choosing instead a quiet life in a small rural community. Here, he found peace tending the crops and caring for animals, far away from memories of battle. Yet those memories often returned, especially thoughts of the alien he had saved. Ethan frequently wondered what had happened to the small creature. After he had left, had it survived? Had it returned safely to its home? These questions lingered in his mind, especially during quiet evenings beneath clear, starry skies. Meanwhile, far from Earth, the alien Ethan had saved had grown into a respected figure among her people. Her name was Lyra, and her survival story was known by many on her planet. Her experience with Ethan had deeply changed her perspective about humans, who had once been seen only as dangerous enemies. Now, she worked as a diplomat, striving tirelessly to end hostilities between her species and humanity. Lyra had never forgotten Ethan's kindness. The memory of their brief time together, sharing food and quiet trust, inspired her each day. She often shared her story during diplomatic talks, demonstrating the possibility of peace between their peoples. Despite her dedication, negotiations were challenging, with powerful groups opposing peace. One day, news arrived that peace negotiations were on the brink of collapse due to sabotage by extremists on both sides. Worried and determined, Lyra decided she must go directly to Earth. She hoped her personal story and Ethan's kindness could remind both sides that cooperation and compassion were possible. Upon reaching Earth, Lyra's arrival caused confusion and tension. Many humans had never seen an alien like her up close, and fear lingered from past conflicts. Lyra ignored the wary glances and whispers as she moved towards Ethan's community, determined and hopeful. She believed finding Ethan would bring strength to her cause. When Lyra reached Ethan's village, she quietly asked around, describing him carefully. The villagers, initially hesitant, soon understood her peaceful intentions and guided her toward Ethan's small farm. Ethan, unaware of Lyra's presence on Earth, worked calmly in his field, tending the crops with practiced ease. Hearing footsteps approach, Ethan looked up and froze. Standing before him was the same alien he had once rescued, now grown and healthier. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, emotion swirling silently between them. Lyra stepped forward, smiling softly. Ethan smiled back, feeling a powerful warmth fill his chest. They spoke carefully at first, using simple words and gestures, just as they had years ago. Soon, however, they discovered that both had learned the other's language to some extent, easing communication. Ethan invited Lyra into his home, offering her food and shelter. The simple act mirrored their first encounter, renewing their bond. As they shared a meal, Lyra explained her mission. Ethan listened carefully, deeply moved by her bravery and determination. He agreed without hesitation to help her, knowing how important their shared experience could be in promoting peace. Their meeting was gentle, filled with respect and hope for the future. Ethan soon began traveling with Lyra, visiting towns and cities to speak openly about peace. Their appearances surprised people, many of whom had only known aliens as enemies. Yet, when Ethan shared the story of their first meal together, people listened with growing interest and curiosity. Slowly, public opinion began shifting toward peace. Humans saw Ethan's genuine connection with Lyra as proof that understanding was possible. Ethan felt proud and humbled, realizing his simple act of kindness had grown into something powerful and meaningful. Yet their path was not easy. Extremists from both sides still opposed their message, seeing cooperation as weakness. Threats and challenges met Ethan and Lyra wherever they went, yet they remained strong and united. They believed deeply in their cause and knew their voices mattered. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, Ethan and Lyra sat quietly by a fire, reflecting on their journey. Lyra spoke softly, expressing her gratitude for Ethan's friendship and bravery. Ethan replied sincerely, telling her He had learned much from her courage and wisdom. Their friendship had grown even deeper, built on mutual respect and trust. As they continued their journey, Ethan found himself changing in unexpected ways. He became more confident speaking in public, inspired by Lyra's strength and determination. Lyra, too, found comfort in Ethan's calm presence, which reminded her of the compassion she had experienced years before. Finally, the day of a critical peace conference arrived. Leaders from both species gathered, tensions high. Ethan and Lyra knew their presentation was crucial, and they prepared carefully, determined to speak from the heart. As they stepped forward to address the gathered crowd, Ethan felt a quiet sense of purpose. He glanced at Lyra, her eyes steady and reassuring. Together, they began speaking, sharing their story openly and honestly. The crowd listened carefully, feeling the sincerity in their words. Ethan described how years ago he had chosen compassion over conflict, helping an injured enemy. Lyra explained how that act had changed her, inspiring her lifelong pursuit of peace. Their words resonated deeply with the leaders. They saw not enemies, but two individuals who had overcome fear and hatred to find friendship and understanding. Slowly, attitudes shifted, and a new openness toward peace emerged. When the conference ended, Ethan and Lyra felt immense relief and pride. They knew their efforts had brought peace closer than ever before. Yet, they also knew their work was not finished. The path to lasting peace required continuous effort and dedication. Returning to Ethan's farm, they shared another quiet meal, reflecting on how far they had come. Their friendship had changed their worlds in ways neither had imagined. Ethan knew he would always cherish their bond and remain dedicated to promoting harmony between their peoples. That night, beneath the vast star-filled sky, Ethan felt true peace within himself. He knew his simple act years before had led him here, shaping his life profoundly. Beside him, Lyra gazed upward, her thoughts quietly aligned with his. Together, they had proven that even small acts of kindness could echo loudly through the universe, forever changing hearts and minds. The planet was cold, dry, and covered with endless stretches of rocky terrain and harsh winds. Ethan sat alone next to his crashed shuttle, staring up at the gray, lifeless sky. His shuttle had been badly damaged during a fierce battle, and now he was stranded. His communication device was destroyed, leaving him isolated with limited supplies. He checked his food supplies again, feeling a deep worry rise inside his chest. Ethan had enough food for perhaps 2 more days. After that, survival would be uncertain. He sighed, trying to ignore the heavy fear pressing on his heart. Suddenly, he heard a weak sound coming from nearby. Ethan quickly stood, pulling out his small weapon. His eyes scanned the area cautiously, prepared for danger. He followed the sound and soon found its source, an injured alien lying between sharp rocks. Ethan hesitated, his finger resting on the trigger. The alien wore the uniform of his enemy, yet it appeared helpless and in great pain. He took a cautious step closer, noticing it was much smaller than expected. The alien looked up weakly, its large eyes reflecting pain and fear rather than aggression. Lowering his weapon, Ethan approached slowly, his heart beating fast. He knelt by the alien, observing the injury carefully. A deep wound was visible on its leg, stained by an unusual blue liquid, the alien's blood. Ethan could see the creature was suffering badly. It moved slightly, groaning in pain. He sighed deeply, feeling conflicted. Despite the war, he couldn't bring himself to harm an injured and helpless being. Ethan decided to help, even if it felt risky. He carefully lifted the alien, surprised by how light it was. The creature gave another weak groan, its eyes closing. Momentarily, Ethan brought the alien back to his shuttle, laying it gently on a soft emergency blanket inside. He quickly found medical supplies and carefully cleaned the alien's wound. The creature flinched, making quiet sounds of discomfort. Ethan worked gently, applying medication and bandages to stop the bleeding. Once finished, Ethan sat back, exhausted and unsure. The alien's breathing seemed more steady now, but he knew it was still weak. After a moment, its eyes opened again, focusing on him carefully. They studied each other silently, uncertain and wary. Feeling awkward, Ethan reached for his small pack of food. He hesitated, knowing his supplies were limited, but his conscience guided his decision. He broke the small meal into 2 portions, offering 1 piece to the alien. It stared at the food uncertainly, then slowly took it, watching Ethan closely. They ate quietly, both still cautious, but slowly becoming more at ease. The alien's face showed clear surprise and gratitude, its eyes softening slightly. Ethan felt oddly comforted, even in his difficult situation. Sharing food had created a quiet bond between 2 enemies. After the meal, Ethan checked the alien's wound again, satisfied that it was properly cared for. He began repairing his shuttle, hoping for some way to signal help or escape the planet. Occasionally, he glanced back, noticing the alien watching him curiously. It said nothing but observed him carefully, seeming to gain strength from the medicine. And rest. Nightfall brought colder winds and a darker sky. Ethan secured the shuttle door, trying to maintain warmth. Inside, he checked on the alien again, relieved to see its condition improving. The alien appeared more alert, though still silent. Ethan wondered if it understood any human language at all. Eventually, exhaustion overcame Ethan, and he drifted into uneasy sleep. His dreams were filled with memories of battle and the strange feeling of caring for an enemy. He awoke early, feeling stiff and cold. Immediately, he checked on the alien, relieved to find it resting calmly, breathing evenly. Over the next hours, Ethan continued working on his damaged shuttle, occasionally stopping to eat small amounts of food. Each time, he shared his meal with the alien, and each time the quiet trust between them grew stronger. Though no words were spoken, a clear understanding had formed out by the afternoon. Ethan had managed minor repairs, but knew it was insufficient to leave the planet. Frustration crept into his mind, making him wonder if help would ever come. He sat down, tired and worried, looking at the alien who watched him with gentle, curious eyes. Suddenly, Ethan's device beeped loudly, startling him. He quickly picked it up, discovering that another shuttle had detected his distress signal and was approaching quickly. Relief flooded through him. He glanced at the alien, unsure what would happen next. Would the approaching shuttle see the alien as a threat? Ethan gently guided the alien outside, motioning for it to hide among nearby rocks. The alien seemed to understand, moving carefully to a safe spot. Soon, a rescue shuttle landed, and human soldiers rushed towards Ethan, helping him aboard. As he climbed inside, Ethan looked back, glimpsing the alien briefly. Their eyes met one last time, holding a shared moment of gratitude and respect. Ethan knew he would never forget this strange encounter. The shuttle doors closed, and he settled into a seat, his mind filled with complicated feelings. The alien had been an enemy, yet also someone he'd come to care about. Ethan gazed at the rocky landscape disappearing beneath him, silently hoping that the alien would survive. Perhaps one day, he thought, their worlds might find peace. For now, he had done all he could. The shuttle lifted into space, carrying Ethan away from the harsh planet, but leaving behind a part of himself with the alien he'd helped. Deep down, Ethan knew this experience had changed him. It had reminded him of compassion and understanding. Even in times of war, he wondered what future awaited him in the alien. Whatever it was, he felt certain their brief connection would remain significant. As the shuttle moved away, Ethan closed his eyes, knowing he'd always carried the memory of sharing that last meal, a simple yet powerful act of kindness, within his heart forever.